Namaskaram, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. A very warm welcome to the viewers of the VEDHI. We will be presenting a brand new series called the Varthalap sessions. We will be presenting those artists who have made a signature in their art forms. We are very delighted to start our first edition with one of the senior-most teachers in New Jersey, Guru Suba Parmar, the founder of Shubanjali School of Performing Arts, is a highly sought-after dancer, teacher and choreographer in the New Jersey area and a proponent of the vintage Pandanallur style of Bharatnatyam. She is the direct disciple of Kalai Mamani, Guru Indra Rajan and Pandanallur Srinivasa Pillai, both acclaimed giants of this respected tradition. She is also training in Konnakol under the guidance of Sri Vinayagaram Selvaganesh and advanced Natuvangam concepts under Guru Swami Malai K. Suresh. Shubanjali Performing Arts, founded in the year 1992 by Guru Suba Parmar. This year marks the 30th year. Shubanjali aims to promote Indian classical performing art forms to bring people in contact with creativity of Bharatnatyam and folk dances of India, along with the traditional Indian classical music and theatre, thereby making Indian art forms an important cultural force within the US performing arts scene. Shubanjali promotes the values of Indian culture, preserves ancient art forms, and forges links among Indian, US, and other cultures. Guru Suba Parmar has won various awards and accolades. She is the recipient of various grants from the Union County Cultural and Heritage Affairs and from NJ Arts Council. Guru Suba Parmar was presented by the Most Influential Teacher Award in the year 2015 by the Obama administration. The Bala Saraswati Award for Excellence presented by Muttamil Peravai Chennai for outstanding contribution to the excellence of arts in the United States. A Lifetime Achievement Award presented by Spandana, New Jersey for 25 years of artistic excellence in the United States. She was also presented New Jersey Natya Kalanidhi Award by Krishna Vrindavana in the year 2015. Natya Tarage, Star of Dance, which was presented by the government of Tamil Nadu in the year 1991. Natya Ratna, the Jewel of Dance, presented by International Cultural Center and Lalit Kala Academy, New Delhi in the year 1990. Guru Suba Parmar is one of the very few teachers who have accomplished 100 arangetrams. The 100th arangetram was completed in the year 2021. We are very honored to present to you Guru Suba Parmar in the first edition of the Varthalap series by VEDHI. A warm welcome to Guru.
మంగళ
It is an absolute honor to host Guru Suba Ramesh Parmar on VEDHI at the Varthalap session. Namaskaram Shubaka.
Hello Rubina, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you also. Hope you are having a good time.
Yes, thank you.
Shubaka, it has been a journey for more than 3 decades with Shubanjali.
Yes.
And walking down the memory lane, I would like to know, at what age did you start dancing or you still start learning?
I started dance at the age of 5. Actually, I come from a very small town called Trichy in south of India. There were not that many dance teachers there at that time. One master used to come from Tanjavur. I had an opportunity to perform before Swami Dayananda Saraswati and Swami Chinmayananda ji in Povai when I was 8 years old. At that time, Swamiji told my mom, find her a good teacher and she will make all of us very proud. So I think it was his blessings, and my mom traveled to Chennai to see if anybody can come down to teach. And her good fortune, she went along with Dr. M.L. Vasantakumari. She was one of our very close family friends. And Indra Rajan, Kalimamani Indra Rajan and Guru Srinivasa Pillai, they agreed to come down to Trichy. And that's when my real artistic journey commenced. So initially 4 of us started learning together. And eventually my mom expanded her school in Trichy, and so many students benefited from her training. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
When you started learning dance as a small child, did you have any idea that one day this is going to be a career path?
Not at all. Not at all. I have my bachelor's in computer science and master's in administration. But however, I think I had this deep flair for teaching from very young. Soon after my arangetram, my teacher expanded her school in Trichy. She still used to come once a month from Chennai to Trichy, and she would stay for 4 days and cover the syllabus for the month and go away. So we used to have classes morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, evening, and then she would take the train back and go on Sunday night. So the remaining 3 weeks, she wanted me to practice with the kids. So, that's how, and my journey as a teacher started very young. So, and I used to correct them and make sure I held regular practice sessions for them on behalf of my teacher. So, I think the teaching was a big part of my growing up, and also I knew the pain of the children because I was not much older than them. So I had the same interaction with my teacher, who was supposedly very strict. And if he didn't come ready for class, the stick would fly. So the little kids were like really terrorized. So, it kind of made me be like the older sister. I used to brush up all their songs before they performed before teacher. So I think I liked all that. I liked the smile on the face when they came back after class and to tell me, Akka, it was really good. Thank you so much for helping us out. Yeah.
Having learned Bharatanatyam from the doyens in the art form, how has your gurus influenced you in your journey?
When you're a student in India, you have great reverence for your teacher. It's a combination, I would say, of fear and bhakti. They were one of the most consummate teachers you could come across. They come from the Natvanar Parampara, and I feel it's my good fortune to have received training under them. And I have many experiences to share. I came from Trichy and my gurus lived in Chennai. Before my arangetram and after my arangetram, I literally used to travel to Chennai every year during summer months and stay with her. And my aunt's house was right across my teacher's house. So 2 months it was like complete immersion under her care. So I would dress up and leave early morning to go to her house, and then she would take me to the temple, she would take me to her dance classes, and she was a very senior Nattuvanar. She was doing Nattvangam for many doyens, including Srimati Vaijayantimala Bali, Alarmelvalli, and many others. So I used to attend the rehearsals with her. So it was a very dynamic experience for me to have gotten it at such a young age, to see the full scope of how the art form evolved. And I had the good opportunity of traveling with her for many performances through Sangeet Natak Academy, Lalit Kala Academy, South Zone, Tamil Nadu Tourism, many Sabha programs. So, we had a TV original production on Kutrala Kuravanji. There was one interesting incident while we were traveling to Uttar Pradesh for Sangeet Natak Academy program. The program was supposed to start at 6 p.m. and we were still on the bus at 5 p.m. So she would ask us to start dressing up on the bus, and when at 6 o'clock we were all ready. So she had a way with all the students. She was so hilarious, and she had a nice funny name to expose our weaknesses. She would call me Peacock, and you would think she's addressing a fine dancer, but she was referring to my voice that was not that enviable. Yeah, and my master was equally very, very experienced. He was a very experienced mridangist. He used to accompany us for all the programs, and he was a Vagyakara. He used to write his compositions. Actually, the Varnam he specially composed for my arangetram in Abohi, and he used to compose a lot of jatis. And he used to, when I used to stay in teacher's house, he said when I was like around 10 in the night when I was sleeping, he would call me, come, I need for you to try this jati out. So there was so much of spontaneity everywhere, and it was total immersion. And I used to be in awe of my teachers, Nattuvangam. If you haven't heard her, she was called like the tigress. So she would sit on the stage and the whole audience would watch her. She will come with a head full of jasmine flowers, and by the time the program is over, only the nar will stay. All the flowers will be everywhere. She's such a dynamic personality. I feel like so blessed. And even her dance style was so creative and spontaneous, and she never she always incorporated something new, right, and which I adopted into my into my teaching style and my choreography style. She would choreograph the same varnam, and each one of us would be doing the same varnams so differently every single time. Right, and if you forgot and came to the class, that's it, that's gone. That was history, that choreography was history, and she would give us a scolding and teach us something new. So that one varnam was equivalent to 25 different varnams that you could learn. That kind of knowledge she would impart. Yeah, very awe-inspiring. Yeah,
it is more like the Gurukula system of learning ages back, right?
Very dynamic learning.
Shubaka, when you started dance class in New Jersey, maybe around 3 decades ago, there weren't many schools here in New Jersey. I'm sure you faced a lot of challenges, especially to create, structure in teaching the kids, and also to create audiences for an art form like Bharatanatyam. What is your experience in the last 3 decades?
I got married and came to the US in 1992. I was still I was performing steadily in India. Just the year before I got married, I had close to like 50 performances in India. I used to perform for Lalit Kala Academy, Sangeet Natak Academy, Tamil Nadu Tourism, then for some sabhas. So I was still, my mindset was still the performer mindset. So I didn't have any inclination of starting to teach yet. And I came here and I landed up on the 4th floor of a Jersey City apartment, and nobody really knew me here. There was no media, no internet, no cell phones. So I came to this country with Windows on 7 floppy disks. So that was the generation I came in. But I think it was a blessing of some sort, I would say. I used to look at the newspapers and look at organizations that sponsored programs, and I would send my resume across to everybody seeking an opportunity. The first year I got an opportunity to perform at the Pittsburgh Temple, and then at Shiva Vishnu Temple in Maryland. My aunt arranged for few performances around California. So because of our acquaintance with Swami Dayananda Saraswati back in India, so he invited me to perform several times at the Arshavidya Gurukulam. Then I realized the temples and the ashrams were the only places that really nurtured these arts at that time, because it was still a small community. The Indian community was still very small. I remember there was an organization called Bharati Society of India where few Indian families came together. So, but, and there was like maybe one troupe, one orchestra troupe that used to come from India to support. And, but since that time, I always made it a point to do at least 2 or 3 live shows. By hook or by crook, I would just find my own opportunities or appeal to people to like have my live show, because that was the only way to express my creativity. Once I moved to like Somerset, like that's about in like 92 end, then I started teaching few kids, and Vivekananda Vidyapeeth, that's where I started my teaching journey. So they gave me an opportunity and their space to teach. And so every year I would do 2 or 3 live shows. And slowly I used to kind of have it as a mini school show where the first half would be my performance, and then I would have the kids perform. And slowly it built up. And 1999 I prepared my first student for arangetram. So she was Sharbari. It was a very beautiful moment. And then 107, this last summer was the 107th graduate, and this summer I'll be presenting 7 more graduates, and we're leading up to 114th graduate. So it was, I always anticipated the arrival of my live orchestra. I owe a lot to their presence. I used to call them my Halley's Comet. So I'll work on my, they gave me a lot of input to work on my choreography. See, because in India, it was a different setup, right? As you are so used to having your own live team, and you did 2-hour performances, and you come to this country, and you're scrambling to perform 2 items in a place. So it was a big shift. And you do it slowly. You know what, then 94 Madhu was born, and within 5 months I was ready to start performing again. But I never quit my enthusiasm to create nor perform. So I think that kept me going. It wasn't as fast as it could have gone in India, but I have no regrets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful journey. One arangetram takes up a lot of preparation. So imagine a person who has done 100 arangetrams. It is indeed a milestone in a journey of a dancer. I don't think in North America we have very many teachers who have accomplished 100 arangetrams. Congratulations,
Thank
Shubaka.
you so much, Rubina. Thank you.
The other thing would like to know is, in the last 30 years, you have had more than 100 arangetrams. 107 you said you completed. The challenges you faced in over the years, because you brought musicians from India, you brought them here, and then coordinating the parents. It's a lot of work, and it is a lot of perseverance to the whole thing. So what is your take on this?
See, preparing a student for an arangetram is like germinating the seed and making it grow into a tree. It requires a lot of planning, lot of preparation. And they say, right, it takes an entire village to educate a child. And over the years, you build that community of help, right, to help you in this process. And you know what, the parents also want that for their kids, because to get an education is in an art form is like immersion into your culture, right? So it was an important outlet for the parents to give it to their child, especially when you are in this country, like where you're exposed to different things, to have an identity for yourself, like to appreciate your roots. I think this arangetram was something we all mutually agreed upon to give it to the children. But to prepare a student, you know what, the training has to happen in multiple planes, like your physical plane, because first of all, the kid has to commit that time, the amount of time, And then secondly, the emotional plane, how do you keep them motivated in an alien art, right? Like in their regular life, they're doing something else. And how do you keep them motivated to understand our mythology, right, our culture, without an active participation, right? So it was a long and iterative process, a lot of growing up for me to do as well. But now it all looks so seamless, but it's a lot of time management, communicating to the parents, and also identifying a repertoire that would suit each kid and equipping yourself with the knowledge, right? Like if I'm preparing 7 to 8 kids, like I need to be ready with 7 to 8 margams to have that variety, right? So I'm growing, the kids are growing, a lot of psychological counseling, right, to keep them and make them stay motivated. See, from a 1-hour class a week, just the year before the arangetram, the kids are enthusiastic to practice 750 to 1,000 hours, means some transformation in the thinking has to happen. Right, for them to deeply want that experience. So I think the teacher becomes an important source, and the teacher also has to work closely with a lot of elements, right, to make, and I have to be, I can be a captain of the ship, but I need a lot of people around me to make sure I can enforce it, and I'm blessed with wonderful teachers. And right now the Shubanjali family is self-sufficient. We can boast of IMC team, and we have close allies that we work with for makeup, for photos, video, right? Like it's a complete system. And it has grown iteratively, it has grown over the years.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm sure your family plays a very important role in your career, especially without a support system in a country like North America. It isn't easy at all. And how much do you owe it to your family?
Oh my God, like family is like the pillar of support. If you have an understanding family, you get so much of intellectual and emotional support to be successful, right? And I'm blessed with a wonderful mother. She has been a visionary. Without her unconditional love for the art, I wouldn't be where I am today. And she is my honest critic. And my husband has always been by my side to motivate me and help me. I know we have had our own tug of wars because this is a very time-consuming art, and sometimes you lose track of time. But he's the one who constantly teaches me how to manage my time, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't make the art form sustainable, right, it defeats the purpose. Right, you could excel as an artist, but then if you're not a good wife or a mother or can take care of the house, right, you cannot make this art long-standing. So I think you have to be fair. You have to be fair. You have to be honest with what you want, and you get a lot of help. At one point, I used to be like so picky. I would want to do the makeup for each one of my kids because I wanted it like a certain way. But then when you have a lot of students, you're preparing to bring them on stage, like that time is valuable. I'd rather spend that time psychologically inspiring them than doing the makeup for them. You see my point? So then you learn to prioritize, and you learn to be honest and truthful. You keep up a schedule. You have your own personal discipline. And you have to really respect the people in your family. Right? You have to really, really respect and be honest, and in case something is delaying you or you feel you need more time, prepare them beforehand so that they don't have to be surprised. Because I know as a teacher, I've missed attending so many family functions, so many public events. They always make fun of me that I'm never attending anything. And I tell them I'm here with your kid, right? But life doesn't have to be that way. Absolutely. If you plan everything properly, you can have the cake and eat it too.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Shubaka, when it comes to arangetram, how long do you think a child, when he or she starts learning dance, how long does she take to prepare for arangetram, and when do you think the child is ready to perform an arangetram?
See, many parents, when they enroll the child, the first question they ask me is, when can my child be ready for an arangetram? And I answer them, when your child is ready to put the work, she is ready for the arangetram. So there is no, I have trained students for arangetram when they have started Taya Tahi within 3 years, right? Because of the time commitment they were able to give. And sometimes even 20 years is not enough if the child is not willing to put the time. So I would say over the years, I've evolved my own methodology of training that gives them a good foundation. And I would say if they kept up the regular practices and they can learn all the items, I would effectively say they would be ready in 8 or 9 years. So what I do is 3 years prior to the arangetram, I sit down with the parents and we plan a nice repertoire for them, and I give them a big picture of what it entails, what the practice entails. And the first 2 years I cover the syllabus, because on a regular class it's only like once a week. And the other class I exclusively devote to character building and adavu. So effectively they have only like one class for learning. So 2 years it takes to complete the syllabus. And then 1 year they work very deeply with that material, and they go delve deeper into improving the form, improving the expressions. And that's the time I give them more exposure to performing on stage. Because I feel dance is an energy, right? And you are an energy being, right? So for both the energy to work together, it needs a lot of effort. It needs a lot of that. You allow to become seamless, right? So it's a lot of preparation, and I don't have any clear-cut formula, but I have to work with the ability of each child. So some children are born gifted, right? They have great memory, great form, right? And they already have other parallel disciplines that has given them the necessary form. But many kids, they need more help with memorizing better, right? Articulating their expressions better. So there is no hard and fast rule, right? It's what it demands, right? Exactly. You have to, as a teacher also, you have to deal with each child independently and see what is best for them, what will inspire them, right?
So
and tell them.
It's tailor-made for every child.
Yeah, it's a tailor-made. And I think over the years, you kind of know how it works. And for me, it's a joy. When I look at a child, that the energy of the child helps me evolve a repertoire that's conducive for them, right? I can see a Krishna or a Shiva or a Devi in them, that energy that comes close, and I think that's a blessing of God, right? And I'm honest and truthful to what I do, and I always pray that energy that I so lovingly worship should dawn on them as well, and they should experience that energy fully.
Wonderful. The children are really blessed to have, that kind of a teacher who actually guides them through the process. What message would you like to give the kids of this generation? Now we are seeing kids are in the, generation where everything is a touch screen, And what message would you give? You have seen kids in the 90s, in the 2000, now we are in 2022.
Yes. So actually, I would say this is a golden period for dance. The resources are plenty, right? In my time, the only resource that we had was our teacher, right? And occasionally, few artists would come down to our town. I didn't even have a TV at home until I was in 12th grade, right? So there was no internet, no media. So even to, like, whatever the art that I knew was what came out of my teacher. So I didn't have anything to, like, refute that. In a way, that's good, because if you're blessed with a good teacher, that's all you need, right? And they guide you into how to make the discipline, internalize the disciplines, no distraction. You come, you practice, you learn, you practice, you learn, you practice. So that was good, because I was able to go a few steps ahead of them. So these days, people have to go to a separate teacher for Abhinaya, separate teacher for Laya, separate teacher for martial arts, separate teacher for yoga, separate teacher to learn the items. So it's all so fragmented, right? And it was never like that. In olden days, the one teacher did everything, right? And we were all fine, and our art was worthy of being critiqued, right? It had that full flavor. We were able to keep an audience enthralled for 2 hours. So there was more vetting in the artistry, right? Like, for instance, if you take my gurus itself, they were well versed in music, well versed in mridangam, well versed in dance, choreography, well versed in writing compositions. Where can you get all that, right, without spending that kind of time, right? I just wish the art evolved in that direction, where they could get a more complete mastery of the art form. But now, you know what, it's nice, because you have more art to enjoy, but the problem is you don't know which is good and which is not good at their level. They are looking at the performance only from their level of understanding. You got what I'm saying? Yes. There is difference between artistic ability and artistic creativity, right? Ability is what is being taught to you, and you reproduce what is being taught to you, right? But how do you cultivate artistic creativity, right? If your teacher didn't have too much experience, like to evolve beyond the repertoire they know, right? Where are you going to get that knowledge from? Correct. Right? Do you have a child, like you have one version of the Varnam, right? Like a certain standard. Then suddenly you have a child who cannot handle that standard. How are you going to size it up or size it down to meet their needs? You need to have enough resources or knowledge. You need to be equipped to know how to size it down or size it up, right? So that training, that analytical train, like it's like your mom cooking at home, right? She makes the most delicious sambar. You have the same ingredients, right? Are you able to bring that flavor, right? So it is, I think those are the minor points. But in the modern point also, the kids are super smart. Like they are so agile. They pay a lot of attention to the form, to perfection, to like looking good. So they are artistically able, right? But for creativity, you need to have some experience. I think the experience evolves you, exactly. Right? But they need to keep continuing. They need to keep experimenting. They need to encounter, be in the satsang of artists, attend workshops, read a lot, right? Inspire themselves. How many times have you read a poetry and I said, wow, what lovely metaphors, right? Like reading poetry and staying enthusiastic, trying something new. I think above all, in my experience, having a disciplined practice schedule. Whether you have a performance or not, you need to have your romance with your practice.
Sadhana.
Yes. Yeah, that thing beats it. You know what? I think in my experience, what that has opened up to me is your regular sadhana opens up, removes the dead layers in your body, the dead, the energy that's stagnant in your body. It opens up. It opens up and you know what, even a little bit inspiration from outside makes your creative juices work. But you have to have that sadhana. You have to put that effort. That effort is what is transforming. Then the energy takes care of itself. When you have that effort, it is like a plant, like you think a seed will grow on like a hardwood, seed will not. You have to take the seed and put it in the ground where it can germinate, like a soil. But once it's in the soil and it receives the water, it doesn't need your help. The transformation happens for the seed. Right? We think we are dancing. No. The energy within us is dancing.
Absolutely.
Right? That's why when you watch a beautiful performance, you even forget your existence. Why? Because that energy touches you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, children, you should, I think you should listen to this again and again, because there is a very beautiful message behind what Shubaka is saying. From the time you started your journey in dance till now, that is 2022, art has evolved. And art has evolved considerably, and artist also has evolved. How would you look at this situation, your journey, and the way art evolved?
Yeah, it's a big, I wouldn't, art-wise, still you're happy, sad, those things, the ingredients of the art form hasn't changed. But how you have adapted the art form has changed, right? Still the varnams you do, right? Still the abhinaya you do, lot of songs you adapt. I think it still holds good, right? Any time, any century you do it, it will still be applicable. But what has differed or what has changed now is how entertainment methods have changed. See, right now, from the time where there was no TV, right? I come from the generation where you used to sit and watch performances in an auditorium, in sabhas, right? You used to go for live shows and you watched full-length performances for 2.5 hours, right? You used to see the full gamut of the presentations, right? And then slowly that has reduced. We used to have 3.5, 4 hour concerts. Can you imagine the material they need to come ready with and the stamina they need to present? So I remember the first concerts my teacher used to do, the first 3/4 of the program would be Bharatanatyam, right? Like you did. And after that she would do gypsy dance and this dance, like we used to have so much variety and folk which came. So the program's length would be 3 hours, just like that. And we were able to do it. We had the energy and the stamina and the memory to do it. But now the focus of the audience is so short, right? We can't even keep our focus for more than 2 minutes. You look at something on the internet, it bores you. Then you go on to the next one, right?
Yes,
so
continuously scroll.
Yeah, right. And I don't know what you are imbibing, right? But that is not art, right? I don't think you could call it anything. And I also have my own views on fusion, right? I do a lot of contemporary themes, right, in Bharatanatyam, because I always want my art to be understandable to the audience, right? What you have learned from your guru is a nice template where they transfer the knowledge of the art form to you. But say, for instance, I perform a lot for the Shivananda ashrams, and they are predominantly 99% Western audience. They are not used to our vocabulary, our movement vocabulary. Exactly. Right? So, but it is my responsibility as a dancer to educate them, right? And also bring in numbers that they will enjoy watching. So I need to make some preparation or adjustments in what I present. They may be ready for advanced repertoire, but that's not the time when they are viewing your performance for the first time, right? So what you present at the Music Academy audience is different from somebody who is coming to enjoy your dance for the first time. You see my point? Yes. So you have to, as a artist, you have a responsibility, right, to study your audience. So you can't allow ego to determine your art, right? You have to study your audience, their requirements, their understanding. At the end of the day, they should go home feeling rejuvenated about watching your art form. Same thing I do with my students, every class. I want to make the art meaningful, right? I want to make the art meaningful, and in that process, I want to adopt and try something new while understanding. Say, I can explore a lot of movement and vocabularies, a lot of people do, right? They work with yoga, martial arts, they work with contemporary dancing, they try to incorporate. But merely cobbling and putting things from everywhere doesn't constitute art, right? I need to understand the other vocabularies to a certain depth to be able to integrate. I can't just have like a couple of steps in modern dancing and say, okay, I did a fusion with Bharatanatyam. It doesn't make sense. And that's a territory, first of all, I've never explored that kind. And first of all, and moreover, my line is in teaching, and for me that itself is like time consuming, giving the art as is in its original form and shape, and motivating the kids to like this has been my primary focus.
Shubaka, you were honored by the Obama administration for the Most Influential Teacher Award for the Presidential Scholar. So, how do you look at this? It is indeed a great achievement and an honor for any teacher, and especially for a teacher teaching Bharatanatyam. How do you look at this?
You know, it's indeed a great honor and a testimony to all the effort we have put. The commission on this presidential award, the Obama Presidential Award, they select more than 20,000 applicants apply to the Young Arts program. And out of that, they select 20 finalists. And out of that, 12 are honored with this highest distinction of Presidential Scholar for the Arts. And our student, our alumni student, Anaga Prasanna, she became one of the 12 recipients of the Presidential Scholarship for the Arts, and making me the influential teacher of a Presidential Scholar. So it really, and you know what, there is an irony behind this, because in class when I motivate the children, because they're so judgmental about themselves, about others, so I always tell them, nobody is going to give you a President's Award, right? Like, look at art for what it is, enjoy what you're doing, right? Like, doesn't matter whether you get an award or not, you have to enjoy. And like, lo and behold, I get this. So you never know. No, but it's just, I'm so happy the platform, the methodology that we have created is able to create students of such excellent caliber. And see, and also we have many students who have excelled very well, right, in the American landscape. Like Swati Jaishankar, she has been honored by Indian Raga, and she's one of the internet favorites among our generation girls. And we have several students from Shubanjali who have been selected for Indian Raga and present their own creative works with other dancers. So I feel very deeply humbled and honored that we are able to create students of very high distinction.
Hearty congratulations to you and Shubanjali. It's indeed an absolute honor. And thank you, Shubaka, so much for being a part of the Varthalap session for VEDHI. It is my honor to present you on VEDHI for Varthalap.
Thank you so much, Rubina. It's been truly an honor chatting with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubaka.